Evening, folks. This is Deb. So we're going to table Project 2025 tonight. We're going to talk about Joe Biden and Supreme Court reform. So, in case you didn't know, Joe Biden has written an op-ed for the Washington Post where he is calling for reform of the Supreme Court that entails term limits of 18 years for justices, an enforceable code of ethics, and a constitutional amendment to reverse the immunity ruling. Now, let's talk about this, because I hear chatter out there now from people, now that Kamala Harris is the nominee and Joe Biden has stepped aside, that he's grandstanding. You know what? I don't want to hear that. I really don't. We elected Joe Biden to act on behalf of the American people through January of 2025 until he has to turn the government over to the next leader, okay? And we better make damn sure it's Kamala Harris, because Donald Trump has used the Supreme Court to help bring us right to where we are today, and he will continue to do so. Joe Biden is doing his job, okay? Now, I get it. Right? He's old. He couldn't energize the young vote. He had a bad debate performance. He stepped aside. He did the right thing. The party is now cohesive. It's together. It's behind Kamala. And we're moving forward. And that's a great thing. But Kamala herself is the one saying that the Supreme Court is on the ballot. What is Joe Biden doing? Joe Biden is A, doing what we elected him to do. Okay. And B, he is doing what we call table setting for the next administration, just as AOC is when she files impeachment articles against Alito and Thomas for their gross violations for the gifts they've taken from billionaires, conflicts of interest, refusing to recuse themselves. Okay. No one's accusing her of grandstanding. And everybody knows that none of that is going to pass as long as the GOP owns the House. And as long as this particular GOP is in power, because they're the very party that stacked the Supreme Court to help bring us to Donald Trump's fever dream of authoritarian rule. So instead of insulting Joe Biden, the man who has given of himself, a man who stated that he couldn't decide if he was going to run in 2020. He only ran because they felt that he was the only one that could beat Donald Trump, and he did. So now nobody needs him. Nobody wants him. So now everything he does is grandstanding. Get a clue, folks. You really need to get a clue. This is how this works. It's called table setting. It's showing the people what we're doing moving forward, that we're not just sitting here running a campaign with no goals in sight. It's an insult to Joe Biden to say that. And I've become a defender of Joe Biden. When I voted for him in 2020, I voted for him because I knew Donald Trump could not be allowed to take the White House again. But I've watched Joe Biden move to the left and become a much more progressive leader. In fact, he has passed more progressive policies in my lifetime than any president before him. So let the man finish his job. And I just want to say this. Somehow, in my heart of hearts, I really believe that the American people have become so steeped in reality TV and the entertainment thing that they believe that this is the political entertainment complex now, that every nominee has to be exciting, has to perform for the crowds on television, has to stand up at rallies and bloviate for hours, has to be on social media posting about every little thing he does and insulting every little person that he doesn't like. That's what they do, okay? But the business of government isn't always exciting. It's a lot of nuts and bolts. You know, lowering prescription drug costs for seniors to $2,000 a year is not exciting unless you're a senior. Capping insulin at $35 a month is not exciting unless you're on insulin and you're a diabetic. Not all of what you do is going to be TV worthy or Rose Garden signature worthy. A lot of this job is just getting shit done. And you know what? That's what Joe Biden has done. He has gotten an awful lot of shit done on behalf of the American people since he took office. So why don't we just let him finish it? Give him credit for what he is doing, because he will be remembered as one of the best presidents of my generation. And quite frankly, I see a lot of this looking like the way we treated Jimmy Carter back in the day. Remember that? I remember it. We all love him now, right? We all post about him. Oh, we all love him now. But I remember when the American people put him out to dry too. So folks, let me just tell you what we have to do. We have to let Joe Biden finish his term of office and do his job. And what we have to do is make sure Kamala Harris is elected in November so that she can get this stuff finished. I will talk to you all later.